welcome to another FACEHAMMER video. Hello.
Hey guys.
We are here to talk about our tournament coverage of the Mancunian Carnage that we attended in May. So people who are new to the channel, we cover match play content. We're going to talk about our experience at the event, some pictures from our games, key learning points, some little tactical nuances. If you want to see the prelude to this event about the rules pack and the interview with Alex and what lists we took in more detail, you can go check that video out on the channel. So you could just look for that. It's there.
Absolutely. And we are playing with Nurgle, the Maggotkin I was playing with, and Russ was playing with Idoneth Deepkin. And we are both now quite a bit more experienced than we were with them just 3 events ago, because we've taken them to 3 events in a row, haven't we? Or was it 4 for you?
I've done 4.
You have now.
And but when I went to Carnage, it was my 3rd event. No, 4th event. Because so I did 2 team events. Because I did Hampshire, Justice, Warhammer World teams,
Hampshire tomorrow.
And Carnage, and then I've just done the Hereford War Gamers one day. And I'm
2.5 months ago. You were like, I don't have any events.
I didn't. I got murked into teams, which is good. I'm actually going to Brotherhood this weekend, much to my partner's chagrin. Well, you're not here, are you? No. Oh, what are you doing? Playing Warhammer again. Oh, sorry.
And celebrate Queen stuff, right?
Oh, no, she hates it. So she scowls at anyone who's got Union Jacks out on their front garden. But anyway.
Only they're a bit racist.
Yeah, that's the reason. Anyway. So just wanted to start off really and say that we'll go through. The event was ace. I loved it.
It was brilliant.
Alex went to good event. Element, obviously, good venue, good event.
Is it safe to say that this fills the hole that we have from not being able to attend FACEHAMMER? That's very much how I feel about it. Really good group of people. A bit of comp in this one, which I'm definitely a fan of. We'll probably discuss that a bit more as well. Nice
so event. Weirdly, I didn't play anyone where the comp was a thing. I didn't no armies I faced had any comp, basically.
Okay.
Because I didn't play against Gargants or Stormcast or Seraphon, or I basically just played Nurgle, and Trolls and Nighthorn. I played 2 armies that got bonuses, but I didn't play anyone who had changes to their rules, basically. Which is good because no one wants to play Seraphon, they get the bin. And tell me.
I played my army's least favorite scenario, which is now I realize the last 2 events I've done are like the only 2 games I've had that have been like I'm just losing this. Have both been in the same scenario, so I've worked out that one scenario is particularly bad for me.
So let's quickly talk about list changes or what we're doing from our events. So I'll go first. So my Idoneth army show that I did on the channel, that's the list that I started with. This is the evolution of that list. Basically, the key change points are I've got Lotan, or as I like to call him, Brotan. I'll talk about that why in a minute.
FAQ.
Yeah, but he still did what he does.
It's bro anyway.
The FAQ didn't. I mean, the FAQ just clarified it, but basically he always did that. The aspect of the sea, as I like to affectionately refer to this abusive model in my army as Amber Heard. So I have to stop that in case I get sued for damages, but she won't win.
The verdict's now out on it, though. You have to reach a decision at this point, Russell.
I know. The verdict is out. I'll talk the aspect of the sea, unfortunately, and maybe in the current meta, is needed for my list. In my opinion,
Nurgle, isn't he? We've spoken about this.
Very good against Nurgle.
Badass against Nurgle.
Gives you access to battle tactics through the Metamorphosis spell, and also the teleport, the ability to get places, cause your opponent hiccups, and also make your army bravery 10 is massive.
Yeah, I think it's underrated. I think people should be using it in Iron Jaws and stuff. Not bravery 10. You can't get that in Iron Jaws. Soz guys. But you can boost your bravery by 1 as one of the command traits. I think stuff like that.
I think there's a boss totem artifact or thing that does it.
Something
anyway.
Like that, isn't there? Yeah.
Boss pole. Get your boss pole out. Don't do that, kids. Not in the playground.
That's one bravery.
Then I've got basically I changed the artifact to the rune of the Surging Gloomtide, which allows me to put a boat out. I found this super restrictive because I've got a very big blobby infantry force.
And depending on scenario, if terrain falls badly,
very rarely did it become good for me. I think it has been impactful in some of my games. It's been a bit of a learning curve using that. Some guys just couldn't put it down, and I just didn't. I dropped out one Alapex unit, so it's not 2. So I basically had a unit of 2 of a champion. Took it down to 1. I put 10 more Reavers in, which allows me to put the Thralls into 1 unit of 20.
Okay. Is that for more efficient buffing, or to get them?
It's
what's the reason?
For one, it means that I can return models. It's one command point to make them immune to battle shock. I think I would probably change my Triumph to the immune to battle shock one from +1 to wound, because Lotan gives you a +1 to wound bubble. You don't really need it.
Yeah.
But what you do need is that command point for don't run away.
When being able to use it in 2 places at once, is potentially useful, right?
Especially when you've got Reavers, and if they heal like 7 Reavers or something, and you're like, oh, I kind of want to make them, but the Thralls, and then so I think I would change that. It's not. I currently have the Inspired Triumph, but I think I'd change that to. I think it's Indomitable.
Yeah, it is. I guess there's a big reward on a unit that can regenerate as well, isn't there? Because you know, if I saved one guy, but if I get priority, then he might become 4 or whatever it is. It's kind of nice, isn't it?
Yeah, and I changed the mount trait on the Ancient because I used to have Reverberating Carapace for the extra range, and that's because I was using 2 units kind of spread out and the turtle trying to get both and the enemy. Now I've got one blobby just seen next to it, so it's like he's still 12 inches, but Ancient gives me options against other Deepkin, where if I'm playing like an army with loads of sharks, he can just be in the front and you're like, I don't care about your Rend 1 D3, I'm a 2-up armor save.
He just ignores
You've
Rend
got
1
to shoot me.
Trait.
Yeah.
Cool.
You've got to shoot me. I ignore Rend 1. I'm a 2-up
save. Good at that. It's like playing with a Great Unclean One, isn't it? In that situation. Yeah.
And if you do take damage, the Eidolon can go have D3 wins back. Yeah. So it's
that Eidolon that the verdict's out on, because it's quite
good. The Eidolon is good as long as you don't expect it to do any damage.
Yeah. He's an Arcan, right?
No. Because Arcan can kill things. So
he just can't kill anything else, or it's too swingy.
We cannot kill anything.
Okay.
Like even if it was 2 Judicators, I wouldn't trust him to kill it.
Sure.
Like it's that bad. Like it's literally that. The only way you kill stuff is with mortal wounds from magic. I mean, people always say he does obviously have attacks, he will kill things. But not in a way you can't rely on it. I mean, I went into a Scourge Runner. I shot and charged a Scourge Runner chariot on my best day and didn't do 6 wounds to it.
6 wounds, 4 or 5 up save.
6 up save.
Oh. Okay,
I mean, it's Rend 2. The shots. It's Rend 2.
Yeah.
It's just you just don't do it. It just doesn't. Yeah. It just can just.
I think you do the averages on him, and you end up with like 2 or 3 wounds to a not particularly well armored thing.
And sometimes he can roll 5 or 6 wounds. But you can't.
You're not banking battle tactics on that.
No.
Stuff.
The only things you bank on is he's going to stand on the objective and capture it because he's now a monster.
Be a monster.
Or he's going to go and kick over that bit of terrain because he's teleported onto it, and now he's going to kick it because he's turned himself into a monster. Or he's going to try and lower the armor save of the unit I need to kill that the sharks are going to attack. Or he's going to make sure the Thralls don't run away because they've got extra bravery.
You've got reliability to reroll your casts and your dispel.
Yes.
Cool, but you don't have reliability in terms of damage output.
No, exactly. And
do that. Don't kill things.
The play against Nurgle's great because he just tanks the world. He's very good at surviving. Like he doesn't die. But I mean, just I wish he did damage as well. He'd be ace.
I guess he's a typical thing that people undercommit to, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's not significant enough that people like, right, I'm putting half my army in, and then they leave him alive on 4 or 5 wounds.
See game 2, but anyway, where half the Pus Girls charged him and didn't kill him, and then he just teleported away and went, no. Anyway, so I changed the mount trait. I dropped 1 shark, add 10 Reavers, blobbed the Thralls up, put the the Gloom Tide, which allows me to raise a boat in the first movement. And Lotan, the reason Lotan's in the list, he allows me to pick a unit and basically say, I'm going to give you a ritual until my next hero phase, which means that my Thrall blob can have a 5-up ward outside of High Tide. Now, I sometimes use it in High Tide. So because I'm a 1-drop, if I play someone and I go, right, I need to be super aggressive, I'm going at the bottom of turn 2 or even beginning of turn 2, it doesn't matter, knowing that they're going to have a turn back and then another turn potentially.
Yeah.
Then what I need to do is say, if they win that roll, I can't have in turn 3 them dictating the combat and fighting first and my Thrall's not fighting first without a save.
It's an option, isn't it? You can have a save.
Because it lasts until my next hero phase.
Yeah. Okay.
Obviously, if I double them 2 to 3, so say I'm going the bottom of 2 and I win the roll, I'm like, yeah, I wasted it, bunny quotes, but I'm planning for losing the turn.
Yeah.
And if I win it, I can just press my foot to the neck anyway and just say, well, I'm going to activate them first. They'll kill whatever they touch.
Yeah.
And he's got an AoE 12 +1 to wound bubble, which is amazing and buffs everything in the army.
When I played Dan with a Sharknado army, it was horrible.
Oh, that is just the best thing in the world. Like, I'm just like, he is just so good.
You know, it's fine, but it feels horrible as an opponent.
Mm-hmm. He would literally be in all my lists now, I think.
Only 1+ in the army?
He's not a 1+ because some lists you just simply don't have the points for it. I was trying to write a list
spread out more or something.
Yeah, I was trying to write a shark list with a turtle, a king, a soul scryer, and Lotan.
So he drops out.
And he does sort of fit, but you
might have no units almost.
You lose like a shark, basically.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to take one Ishran because you want the rituals, right? So you've got to take a single Ishran hero regardless. But I was trying to write a list. I was trying to put in like 6 eels as well. And then I was thinking, oh, how do I do this list? But anyway, it's a different story. But yeah, so that's my army. I feel super practiced with it now. Like, it's very strong early game. Late game, the power falls off. So it's really important to do the damage early.
That as you lose infantry units?
When you're not in a High Tide, you lose your ritual. You've not got a 5-up ward.
In your grill. Okay.
So basically, as soon as in High Tide, you've got a 5-up ward. If you're on turn 1, you've typically got a 5-up ward on the Namati because they're stood next to a boat that's in your deployment zone. So you're like, you put the boat out, you put them in a band in front of it, you put the characters behind it. There's Reavers in the boat. If they charge the infantry, you can stand and shoot with the Reavers wherever they go because they're 5.5 inches from the front of the boat. They can't turn the ward off. All the infantry have got a 5-up ward save.
Yeah.
You have to shoot them. They can come back. You've got +1 armor save from the turtle buff. So you're all buffed basically without having a turn. So you give them turn 1. If they can go into you turn 1, fine. You don't care. And if you flip the tides, your first turn is retreat, shoot, and charge. So if they pin you with something like Marathi, you just go,
you've got room to step
I'll
back.
fuck off because it doesn't matter because I don't need to care. Plus the fact you could then shoot something else.
What can they withstand that block? Like, it's like, so what I'm trying to get at is like, if your opponent can put a Maw Crusher into you or something like what level do you start caring about a damaged piece, like a YOLO piece?
I prefer not to be charged because I don't want to be my output diminished.
Yeah.
I found that I played against a Stormcast army at the 1-dayer and he hero phase shot me, then shot me and wiped out 20 Thralls with a 5-up ward save and +2 armor save. And I was like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
It was just spiky. Like, he just rolled well. I rolled badly. So it's like they're all dead. I was like, oh.
Big difference between you having like 2 left and none left as well.
Especially when they can come back. So, you know, because I played against Gotrek and I had 1 model left. And at the end of the game, I had 20. So, Gotrek killed 19. By the turn 4, they were all back. So,
oh dear, I'm sure everyone wept for Gotrek in that situation.
No, I didn't. Killed him dead with a turtle, slapped him in the face with his fin. Just like that. have it.
Amazing. So would you say for you, is this the list? Are you decided on this list? Obviously you'll try other options just out of curiosity and wanting to mix it up. Do you think this for you is the list that you would take to an event generally or roughly now,
At the moment,
given where the meta is?
Yeah, there's a lot of Nurgle around. It's very good because it tries to shore up the Idoneth weaknesses of sustain, because you've got the regrow, you've got the ward save access, you've got the bodies. It's still got good shooting because you've got 2 units of 10
participating in all phases.
You've got some combat options. The doesn't quite have that auto delete combat thing. The thing it struggles with is anyone's got an Archeon, like a 2-up rerollable save or something like that. You just can't touch it because you haven't got mortal wound output.
Yeah.
So you're like, the only option you've got is reduce their armor save with the Eidolon spell, but they've got an ignore. So Kragnos and Archeon are a nightmare. You can just try and force it. They can just like literally, you do stuff like, say you're playing against like Maw-Crusher Kragnos. You'll go, I'll bring it down on the Maw-Crusher. They do the heroic action, all out defense on it, blah blah whatever. They do best day ever on it, and you start your shooting phase with the Eidolon. I'll shoot the Maw-Crusher. They go all out defense. Then you just switch everything to Kragnos.
Yeah.
Because you're like, he doesn't have +1 save. He doesn't got best day ever. So he goes from a 2-up to a 3-up. Everything does D3 damage, and you just shoot him and hope he dies.
Yeah, when it gets through, you feel it, don't you?
And you've given up a battle tactic, and you've duped your opponent out of their best day ever and stuff.
On the remaining thing,
on the Maw-Crusher,
and then you kill the thing that didn't get to do it anyway. Yeah.
Then you switch, and normally the Maw-Crusher will be a general, and Kragnos is a general because he's a War Master. So you can basically say, I'll do like Slay the Warlord or bring it down, but they're both applicable. So you can then next turn is then switch. They haven't got best day. They haven't got, so there's a little bit of play around your shooting phase. That's what I like about the Eidolon. It's like very non-committal shooting, but it's Ren 2, damage 2, and then there's suddenly like, I need to like stop that, and they're going to shoot him because that's the battle tactic. And then they go blah blah blah, and you go, right, cool, I don't care about the battle tactic. I'm just going to delete that.
Your army's great. It's not like you've got 2 turtles and that's your only shooting. You've got like shots here, shots here, shots here, shots here.
And I do another thing as well where I'll split the turtle 4 and 4. So I'll split them 4 on that one, 4 on that one, on their 2 heroes. Which one you get all out defense?
Yeah.
And they all out defense 1, but then you might swing the damage on one, and you go, well, he's almost dead, so I'm just gonna put everything in now.
Yeah.
So it's like,
options.
I enjoy the army a lot. It's it's flexible, plays in every phase. That's why I like the Eidolon. Gives me some play in the hero phase, give you some little tricky tactics, give me some things I can do. Yeah. I find that the issue with the army is that any slightly unlucky rolls, or it goes into another turn and you're like, I need a bit of sustain, they just fall to bits as soon as you don't have you come out of those turns, and you're like, I don't have anything now.
You can scrabble on your own terms, but you can't scrabble on your opponents.
No, if you get doubled back, it's horrendous. If you haven't done enough in the early turns to kill. So if you play Nurgle, early turns they just make more ward saves than they should, and they don't die, then they heal up, and then they get the turn, you're like, I'm fucked, because they're just in. Which happened. It's just nature of that.
From either side of that for this event.
Yeah, sure. Exactly. But anyway,
on the subject of which,
your list. Yeah. So I'm talk your ear off.
Fine. I think that they're an interesting army, and it shows that you're enjoying playing them, which is an important thing. So I spoke in the previous show about, like, I didn't necessarily find my army boring, and I don't care when I go to team events what I take at all. Actually, I take whatever the team would require and fills a gap or serves a purpose, and I'm entirely fine with that. But my arm was a bit slow, and I felt like I just turned up and existed a bit. Like, I lost a single game in the last event, and my Great Unclean One didn't see combat once. Quarter of my army.
That's
felt really
bonkers.
Weird. I know, right? Like, he tried to see combat, but then Lumineth and bullshit. Stupid once a game heroic abilities or whatever it is. So we got our revenge. It's okay. So I wanted to mix something up, and I wanted to try and take a fragile Nurgle list, or more fragile. I'm well aware that it's still a Nurgle list. But what I did was I dropped out the high amount of Nurgly wounds, and I squished in Be'lakor. So much like things that Russ has been describing, he's got some movement. That's bloody exciting in Nurgle. It actually really is. He's a monster. That's cool for battle tactics. He flies. You can switch off something until your next hero phase once a game, which is the big thing. I think that feels absolutely fine. Not in Legion of the First Prince, by the way. Don't know how you feel about this, but it just feels kind of, you feel like you've paid an appropriate amount of points for.
You literally just got to bear in mind that you don't. Because basically, if you're using Be'lakor, I think the best way to use the ability is as soon as they declare a battle tactic, you can make them fail with that ability. You use it.
Just bap it up.
So you basically, as soon as they go like, I run 3 units, you go, all right, that guy's not running.
Yeah. I tried to pick it on ones where they had to have more than one thing work for them.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a 1 in 3. So they're like, I'm going to kill that guy. And I'm like, well, that unit needs to move, charge, and fight it in order to happen. Let's say it's, something damaging.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, that's another way. It depends. Like, I think you're right to do that if you can be patient, but sometimes you can't because they're going to shoot him off and he's 4 up with no ward, basically.
We will come to that. There's definitely some learning points. So I wanted to take an army that forced me to learn. I learned about Nurgle in the last one, but I don't feel like I learned necessarily how to be good at Warhammer. So what I ended up going with is, I'm aware a lot of these are left field choices, by the way, and I probably suffered for it, but I wanted to try out something different. So we had the Great Unclean one. I went for the YOLO damage output, so no bell on him for the summoning. Don't know how I feel about that. Didn't make as much of a difference as in being negative as I thought it would. So you had the flail and the sword, which makes him pretty hitty actually, and the sword is not reach 1. Everything else on his profile is reach 1. So having something that's reach 2 is actually really nice, particularly if you're doing sloppity tech where you're holding someone like 1.1 inches away and they've got mostly 1 inch reach weapons or something like that. Or if you don't want Kragnos' 3 inch reach weapon, you can at least go 2 inches away and bash him, stuff like that. Sloppity, he had the Arcane Tome, favoured poxes. The Great Unclean one had Fleshy Abundance, which is just kind of a given for the extra wound on the Plague Bearers. And he was using Tome of 1,000 poxes. The idea with that was to get some counters down as soon as possible to start taking away the wounds.
So that gives you access to Gifted Disease, which is a mortal spell, which you pick a unit within 21 and everything within 7, I think, takes a disease.
It's got big range.
It's really good, yeah.
It is really good. Maybe it's too cute. Maybe it's not the right type of list, but I did enjoy playing with it. I had something to do every first turn, which felt kind of nice.
I think that's a great spell. I really rate it. So
yeah,
except when you play against Inchaki and they all ignore it on a 4 up and you just don't do anything.
Absolutely. I mean, with Master of Magic, you should be getting most of the Nurgle spells off fairly reliably as well. Obviously, your opponent has a dispel, but hopefully you got them off in a decent value. Lord of Afflictions, who is there to transport in just the single unit of Plague Drones as an option. Be'lakor himself, who's just Be'lakor, does what he does, hits as hard as any other part of my army. Like, I don't really have Rend in the army apart from Pappy, so it was nice to have the option of that.
You've got a Nurgle spell on him, but you can't actually take a Nurgle spell on him. It's just a list error. It's fine.
Yeah, it's War Scroll Builder being strange. I had someone correct that in the last one.
I'm
aware. I at no point tried to do spells.
Or use it. Yeah.
I did do spells with him,
but not that one.
But
You're never going to use Stream of Corruption. It's awful, so it's fine.
And then Plague Priest, because I had literally exactly 85 points free. This guy, I love the model. I think he's cool. I've got him on my desk, so I just like how he looks. He was crap. Absolute,
should have just been Emerald Lifeswarm, right?
Yeah, probably just incredibly disappointing. I felt like I was trying to use him well. I put the 6-up ward on Be'lakor and stuff like that. It's
because you can use Bless, can't you, to give a ward, and then
everyone knows it's a thing like Arcane Bolt or Shield.
Yeah,
everyone's got access to that. And he's got his damagey one that's range 13 and stuff, and you can bully something within 9 and get all your 6s to hit to be mortals.
That's why I've been tempted with the Soul Scryer, because you can give a unit a 6-up ward.
Yeah.
So if you had 6 eels, you'd have to deploy him off the table, so he could just give them a ward and just be
send them off.
Yeah.
They still get a bonus for their drummer as well, don't they? It used to be reroll charge. Is it plus 1? Yeah, still helpful.
You get +1 of the tides. So you
and
can
16-inch
use the command ability for Monarch to go. They can run and charge outside
I really
of
like that.
Flow Tide. Then you can give them the ritual because you've got Ishran for that, and then if you've got Lotan, you can.
I never took it to events, but I actually play tested a little bit. It was the only play testing I did when I was playing Mixed Order with not play testing like as a play tester, but testing the army.
You mean just testing out lists, right?
Just testing, yeah. With a weird Mixed Order list with them in, and they were wicked. Really, really interesting. Actually, you just start them on the table, and 16 inches was enough when the table was bigger. So I think
they're 14 now, but yeah, it's still
14,
still fast.
20 Plague Bearers as battle line. Have been considering a 30. Don't have points in here for it, but I don't think that's a bad option. One beast, and the 3 Plague Drones. And I've got Warlord and Hunters of the Heartlands, 2,000 points. I didn't get a Triumph, which I felt a bit. I would like a Triumph with Nurgle for sure. But yeah, this is a fun list. Like, it's a genuinely engaging army to play with. And really nicely, that was one of my aims. Or, I was hoping it'd happen a couple of times. Every single opponent was like, oh, that's not the normal Nurgle list, in a positive way. So that was really nice. I felt that way and my opponents felt that way. And it was a comped event. So, I thought I would try and take something not just cookie cuttery as well.
It's good to experiment. I tend to like to try different things at events.
Yeah.
I was going to take a different list the one day I went to, but I didn't have time to paint it.
It had quite a lot of painting though, didn't it? It was like...
Yeah. It was like a king, 6 eels, and a soul scryer. And then I was on like parental duty for a week, so I just didn't have time. So
not as doable,
no.
But yeah, I mean, another reason for me wanting to take this was I have a model that is here.
Very nice model.
Cool. Thank you. It looks quite, well, I mean, the silhouette's striking, and he got more finished, didn't he? Because I painted him on the Saturday.
Exactly, yeah. So you did more work to him, but it's a Mortarian Vermin Lord and stuff, and a scythe.
Yeah, Mortarian Vermin Lord.
Works really well. So.
Plastic card. Thank you. Yeah, it's probably one of the better ones I've done. I thought I did a better job of removing the iconography, but because when I was sanding it, the milliput sanded more easily than the plastic around it.
You still
little
see
indents.
Yeah.
But they're more gone than not, so that's okay. Yeah, that's the list. So my intent with that was to have some tactical play around the battle tactics. Being able to turn 3 things because the Slopty had Arcane Tome into monsters and stuff like that for the run one. Have the deny with Be'lakor, and just have a little bit more fun and risk playing with Nurgle, because that's kind of what I felt was missing.
Cool. Yeah, good. So we'll start talking about games then. I guess we got some photos, not all games and not all scenarios, but your first game is against Russ Charles's Stormcast, right?
I grudged a lovely man and a lovely army, so I knew how to talk about Russ's army. So Russ has picked perfectly where to put exactly the amount of time he had available and used his resources to the letter with his army. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. He's done like the armor is just silver with Tamiya smoke on it, I believe. Sorry, Russ, if that's not right. Pretty sure it's that. And
not
then,
me. There's different Russ.
Other Russ.
Yeah.
Sorry to all Russes for offending one of your kind.
There was quite a few at the event, which made me feel like
4
people were invading my territory.
Was it like there was like 4 Matts, 4 Toms, and 5 or something like, and then someone played every single Russ or something like that.
Did they?
Or maybe.
That's funny.
Anyway, so his army it's absolutely gorgeous. He is a professional sculptor himself. He's sculpted and had 3D printed some custom bits for it, which people possibly wouldn't even notice because they're done so well. He's very good at his job. He used to work on one of my companies. He's outstanding. And he's painted it beautifully in this really striking scheme, solidly based, blah, blah, blah. I'm in love with his army. It looked great. He was also lovely. And he was rocking Yndrasta, some Fulminators, and kind of a mixed bunch of stuff with some Annihilators dropping in 7, which we spoke about, and is kind of, if it works, it's badass, and if it doesn't, you lose them.
Yeah, that's the Annihilators, isn't it? With the he had like 3 Annihilators with Grand Hammers, and he's in a double battle regiment, I think. So he's a 2-drop.
Yeah,
and then he's got he can drop 7 away, try a charge, because he's got the guy. Yeah,
Had a
Gardas as well in
Captain
Hallowed
Hero
Knights.
landing in there.
5-up ward on the army in a bubble is good.
Yeah,
Injustice
it really
bringing
is.
models back. So
so the
Stormkeep counts 3 on objectives for the infantry.
Yeah,
so
God, it's hard to get around.
take mortals when you charge them.
It's quite
solid.
Like it solid is the word, and it was a mixed one. It wasn't like absolutely min-maxed.
It's almost like a Dominion starter box army with some stuff on it, right? That's how
completely.
it feels. Yeah,
it really, really was. The Injustice scary as well. Like walking towards with a Great Unclean One doesn't feel like a good idea. So Russ and I were having such a nice time just catching up. I've never got to play him before, but we caught up.
It's funny because I randomly played him at the first Carnage in the first game.
Yeah, I know, right? So, I was jealous. So we were having a really nice catch up. And what were the round times? Was it 2:45 or 3?
I think 3 hours.
Yeah,
it was 2:45 or 3. Yeah, but
so we were just having a nice catch up.
It's easy to lose half an hour just chatting.
Yeah, it was. My first event for a little bit and playing him. Really excited, chatting about our armies and stuff like that. So we didn't get all of the turns in, and the learning point in this one for me was just being really scared of fulminators. So the capturing on objectives was a thing, and Russ brought his unit back to life, and 4 of them could touch an objective that was really important, counting as billion models, stuff like that, which I could have played around just by moving Be'lakor like 1 inch further forwards when he'd killed them. So he killed them, and then they just appeared like 9.1 inches away on objective, annoyingly. And we got to a point where we thought that Russ had just about won on the turn that we were on, which we were both entirely fine with by a point. And then we realized that I still had my grand strategy and he didn't have his on the way to hand in his win. So it became my win by a single point. Yeah, wasn't expecting it, but it was a really good game, super close, like everything mattered. Nurgle against Stormcast feel like reasonable armies of both. Feels like a really good game, actually. I think they just match up well. You've got an elite force that pushes out some mortals. You've got an elite-ish force that pushes out some mortals. Both armies could regen to a degree.
It's very different for
models.
His one because he's playing Stormkeep with more infantry and healing. It's a very different Stormcast list.
Yeah,
actually against Nurgle, it almost feels a little bit like playing a mirror, but with different models.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
it really does. It felt really kind of tactical and interesting. We had a great one. But yeah, I ended up squeaking a victory that I wasn't.
How
expecting.
Did you use Be'lakor in this one?
I used Be'lakor on. He picked. I think it's the picture as well. I think he picked Bring It Down on the Great
and Clean one, and you did it on the Fulminators.
I did it on the Fulminators, yeah, because they had
shooters, stop charging, and stuff.
Yeah. Tried my best. Unfortunately, he did get to shoot with them. Only did a wound, and the Great Unclean One died by a wound. But it was great. Like it was a super close game. Really good fun. What about you? You didn't grudge, did you?
No, I didn't. I don't know why. I just don't. I'm like, I should have thought about it and thought,
just a nice way to guarantee playing someone that you might not play otherwise.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know why. I didn't really think about it. I played Alex Island. So actually, like, I'm gonna say everyone I played was a new person I've never played before, which was nice.
That's good.
I think. I might be wrong. No, I have played Speckles before. So yeah, I just try to think because the one day is in my head. So so I was playing against Nurgle, which actually is kind of a bad matchup for me, generally.
But you know it very well now, don't you?
Well, really. Yeah, it vastly depends on how they play against me. Sometimes I have to flip the tides because they've got stuff like pre-game moves or drones in the sky, and I have to because I can't have them in me on turn 2 with no buffs. But
by flipping the tides, you mean you're pushing for
high tide in turn 2. So turn 2 is when I fight first. So that's the turn I can be aggressive, and they're slow. Yeah. If they've got a more blobby army, and they're not going to rush at me, I don't want to flip the tides because it's probably I can wait till turn 3.
Yeah.
So
it's often pivotal.
and it also depends on the mission. So if you're playing like Star Strike or you're playing the Vice, turn 3 is fine. If you're playing like one where you're scoring early on, you're gonna, and the objectives in the middle of the table, you kind of have to do turn 2 because they're going to go to the middle. But we were playing the one with the 4. I don't know why I'm doing that when there's a picture on the screen, but there's with the 4 objectives. So I'll just talk about what I did. It's kind of diagonal deployment, this one. So you're deploying this way. So this is good for me. It gives me some depth. It's good if I'm playing against aggro. He didn't have an aggro list, so he was playing Befouling Host, Hold the Line, Great and Clean One, Master of Magic, Witherstave, Fleshy Abundance, Simulux, Lord of Afflictions with the 4 ward, Festus, 20 Plague Bearers, 4 Beasts, 1 Puscoil, 9 Untamed Beasts, Warlord, Hunters, Halfland, all that.
That is
standard stuff.
The typical list.
Yeah, pretty much. So I deploy like this when I can. So I have my boat here in my deployment zone with 10 Reavers. It's touching the objective. I put my 20 Thralls in a line, anchor one side with the turtle. So that's 12. That's impassable, so he can't fit there. So it's like a wall of Thralls. If they charge the Thralls, if he just put the LOA in the sky and drop him down, then I can stand and shoot. I generally leave the 18-inch bubble from the Eidolon, so it's covering them as well. So they're bravery 10, +1 armor save, 5 at ward because they're within 6 of the boat. Can't get within 3 of the boat. Sharks on the flanks, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's kind of my standard deployment. Obviously I'm a 1-drop, so I gave the turn away. I can't remember if I flipped the tides. I think I probably did. And what I can do in this game basically is I just want to leverage my shooting and cause some problems. Now he actually messed up a little bit because he couldn't actually put his tree down from Horticulus because he didn't have enough room when he deployed. So I was kind of like, oh, it's fine. And then I'll see if I can get all these photos for prosperity's sake. So essentially what I did is I teleported my aspect to the sea over, and I wanted to do is try and charge his... it's kind of more like a distraction. So he ended up putting like I best day ever in. He puts like both his flies in. He puts his Untamed Beasts in. The 4 beasts are kind of my priority target. Now he had a Plague Bearer blob that he buffed the hell out of him with the Great and Clean One sat on his back objective, and I thought I don't need to play for that objective. I need to play for the others.
No, plus that's real hard to shift if everything goes off. They're so hard.
He's almost giving his army piecemeal. So
I was just going to say that
he's given me something to attack where I can't be countered by the Great and Clean One.
Yeah.
And he's not pressurizing me. Yep. So I put a second boat up as well, on which then allowed me to almost anchor another flank and give my Reavers something to play around, so they can like run around the boat shooting, or they can get in it and shoot. So I can jump in the boat and then shoot out of it if I want, or I can, so it gives me some play. The beast is priority target. If I can shoot them off, then like they're the thing I'm worried about in terms of damage output, because they do mortals and they can, they're fast-ish. Horticulus dropped his tree eventually, and fortunately I couldn't stop it. So he's getting quite a bit of summoning. And eventually what I did is he suckered into the Eidolon, who then teleported out, and then the Thralls and Lotan and the Turtle went all that way and killed the Lord of Afflictions, the Fly, the Untamed Beasts, the Beasts and Nurgle that were in the middle got killed as well. I think that was 2 turns later, so I killed the Beast and they'd come around again. So basically just
flies that close to his deployment zone. He's basically he's not really done much in terms of table control, has he?
No, exactly. And then like the Reavers that come out of the boat, they take the home position. The you can see from positional play that his Plague Bearer blob was kind of kept at the back, and then it allowed me to play around the 3 objectives and just kill enough. And then it was basically his Great and Clean One and 20 Plague Bearers versus my army. And eventually it just takes the toll where you go, right, they're going to kill the beast, kill Horticulus, kill this, and he's only got this left. Yeah, he can summon, but only really at the back of his board because that's where the trees are. He's got no hero. And then I'm up on points and I just won the mission that way basically. So yeah, the Eidolon's great because he's a distract. He goes out there, he commits to it, he draws them in, my army ready to follow up, attack, and he heals. He could best day in his turn when I know I'm going to get swarmed. It's it's the closest thing that they can get to is combat army, so they're going to charge him. They're going to just chuck everything in, and you're like, yeah, fine. It's got a 2-up.
One of the worst things to give Nurgle is something within a move and a long charge away, because if they make the charge, they were just literally like 3 times as fast as they would be if there wasn't something there. So
well, that's why I literally was like kept all the stuff that the Plague Bearers wanted to get on my home objective. I just kept them outside of 16, so you can't charge me.
Oh, it's so easily controlled. Like they're a horribly slow army. It's one of the ways to beat them.
And I just basically just stepped backwards and went, well, you can't get to me. Therefore, because if you make the charge, you've got 20 Plague Bearers on my objective.
Yeah.
Or I could just not give you the charge. And then Pappy comes following up.
Run after them or whatever, yeah.
I just went, well, I'm not going to give you the opportunity. So I said to Alex, he probably on turn 1 should have just been max run 6, the Plague Bearers, run the Great Clean One right at the back.
Everything else behind, yeah.
Everything else around it. And then force me to commit and play around the edges and it's like players playing patient. It's knowing where to be patient and where to be aggressive.
Yeah, the scary thing knowing that you've got the tides coming.
It is.
I faced Nurgle in my last game, and my god, like you lose a lot. You mean? Sorry, yeah, played Idoneth with my Nurgle in the last game. I played Nurgle every game. And yeah, it's you take a lot, but then you're potentially in a position where stuff is close to you because you can't get there against the fishies. They're just too fast. Their arm is way longer than yours is.
Yeah, you can basically get to whatever you want to get to. It's so yeah, it was a good game. It was nice to play Alex. The first time I played him, we had a laugh. It was good banter back and forth. I'm experienced with Nurgle. I know what they do. I know they're a tough match if they're played a certain way, and I knew what my priorities were. It kind of makes the matchup easy when you're comfortable with the army you're playing against. Which is one of the reasons I wanted to play with Idoneth, because they're very different to armies I use. So it gives me if I play against Order now, I understand it a little bit better, which I think holds me in good stead.
Really? And there was 9 or 10 Nurgle armies at the event. Was the highest represented?
Yeah. And I played 3 of them, so fun times. And then I guess going into game 2, you played Michael Wilding.
Played Cities. My God, this stuff feels like it's fine. No one's complaining globally about Phoenix Guard, but it shows when you're playing an older book and someone's on like 2's re-rolling 1s to hit.
I know.
And then uses their triumph, so is on 2 re-rolling 1s to wound. But yeah, it was this was actually a really interesting game. So I know that Mike has had some issues getting his turns in previously, and I looked at this matchup and expected that maybe that would be an issue because we've got a grind fest against a grind fest. Diagonal deployment, so we have the ability to start pretty close to each other. He had 2 Phoenixes, I had my list, and he had like
lots.
I think maybe it's like 90 plus Phoenix Guard, which are exactly what Nurgle doesn't want to see, actually. Like,
he had 80.
80.
4 units reinforced. So he had 4 units of 20 in a battle regiment with he was a 2-drop.
2 Phoenixes.
2 Phoenixes, yeah. It's a themed army. I mean, it's a nice themed army.
It is, yeah. Quite, fairly nicely painted and based as well.
Yeah, it did look good, actually.
Yeah, we've got an aerial shot of the Phoenix there, super striking.
Yeah, the base, the lava basin looks really good, actually.
Yeah. So I know how, because it's quite a simple army to play against because it's got 2 war scrolls in effect. So you know what everything does. Although it moves quick. Seeing fast moving elite infantry on 25mm bases is damn good.
Hits hard as well, right?
Oh well, on 25s it does. That's the biggest difference in this army. Like, people don't talk about base sizes. My God, does it make a difference? So he gave me first another diagonal deployment, and this was it was going to be a grind fest. I was aware that given the amount of dice that were rolling and stuff like that, maybe we'd have issues getting the turn in. But frankly, I was knackered from work and I didn't want to turn up and push every turn for this. So I was aware that that might be an issue from the get-go. We had a really, really close, super tactical game though, and part of the reason for not pushing halfway through was that like what was going on the table was just like we were having a really good time. He knows Nurgle extremely well. I learned some stuff about my army playing him, and well, my Bellicor use in this one, you can see one stranded unit, 1 out of 4.
Yeah.
That had been Bellicored, which was a good use of it. So I kind of gummed him up in the middle of the table, and then the idea was just that I was going to make him pay dearly for getting through my Plague Bearers. I gave away turns while they were buffed and stuff like that. You can see 3 of them just stood there with a Sloppity behind them, being as annoying as possible. So I made him pay for that quite a lot, and they just got stuck there with some people behind them. He played really well around the different types of pile-ins and the can't be anything closer and stuff like that. You can see a tree bottom left of this photo, and I summoned a beast from that tree, got it in, and he piled. There was a really significant point where he piled into the beast really, really nicely. Super sweet tactical movement that I didn't see coming, and that let him wipe off those Plague Bearers you can see in shot. And
right, I see. Yeah.
The game came down to him making an 11-inch charge into the middle of the table. We were rushing for time. That's that's no one's fault specifically. It's not on him or anything there. And I didn't redeploy. If I redeployed my beast, you can see middle of the table into the gap where the Lord of Afflictions is next to Bellicor, he wouldn't have been able to get close enough to the objective. And I ended up losing that one by 1 point, which I was absolutely fine with. Like, it was actually a really, really good game.
Yeah, it seems good. Yeah.
Yeah, nice to learn about your army.
Yeah.
From your opponent. Like, I didn't realize how differently worded the wheel can't pile in and the Slopsy can't pile in are. They are completely different. So that was a really good takeaway for me from the event in general, actually, and something that I need to be more mindful of. So yeah, he played around it well. It was quite. I think his army was quite a bad matchup for me because it just got a high volume of very reliable attacks. Like, Nurgle don't care about the quality. You don't care about rend or whatever. You just don't want waves of stuff coming through to you. And basically, his army, let's say it rolled 36 dice. On the turn he used his Wound Triumph, essentially 30 of those dice are going to be rolled by me as armor saves. Like, that's pretty good. The wounds from the birdies didn't come into it too much because I tied them up, but they can be really scary because if someone takes out your Sloppity, your army crumbles. Bellicor did his work and did a little bit of munching as well. His armor save being invulnerable, he's a swingy piece, but put in the right place, he's really annoying for people because he does fairly reliably. He's got decent quality, like a decent quantity of decent quality attacks, and he does his thing and he's a monster and whatever. So yeah, it's a really enjoyable game, but I lost by a single point in in response to what I thought was lost by a single point, but was a win by a single point.
Yeah.
So fairly even at this point.
Yeah, close ones, both of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I add to my second Nurgle list, which was Flight of the Puscoils by Aidan Cleave, or Cleavey, how you say that. Which was basically drowned men with Blowab, Epidemus, Lord of Afflictions, and then just 4 Puscores, 2 Puscores, 2 Puscores, 2 Puscores, 2 Puscores, and a 1-drop. Actually, really bad matchup for me.
Grim. Yeah, that's horrible for you. But everything's survivable. Everything's faster than normal in Nurgle.
Everything is, but I played it. I think I played this pretty well because it was diagonally. I had a depth for the board to be able to deploy outside of, to make sure, because it was 1-drop roll. So I won the roll. Yeah. I had to go, if he deploys on the line and uses pre-game move aggressively and tries to charge me turn 1, I'm screwed. If I don't have depth in my deployment zone. Thankfully, I did. So I could deploy quite far back and be like, well, you ain't getting to me, really.
Or you're getting to me with like a unit or 2, which is fine.
And if you get to me, it's not a big deal, like I can take it. So what I was surprised about, he didn't put anything in the sky. and he didn't use his pre-game move to be aggressive.
I guess he was scared of you coming in, but that army doesn't need to be scared of that, does it really?
So he played the his turn very conservatively, and I was like, good.
Game on.
Except for his Lord of Afflictions that he basically YOLO'd into my army, who then died because he went into my thralls on his, and I stood and shot, and the thralls killed him, and I was like, well, that's amazing because that's just something out of my hair.
Right. Yeah.
And actually, if he went, because he went into my thralls, I could have actually, if he pinned me, I could retreat out because I'm in flipping the tides. Because I had to flip the tides because I didn't know if he's going to be aggressive or not. So in this picture, you can see that my Eidolon teleported over to the side of the table. He's in his
standard position against Nurgle.
Yeah, so he's basically like in the objective in the corner, and he just put he put everything into it. He put like the 4 unit of 4, 2 units of 2 into my Eidolon. I was like, that's like half your army. And he didn't kill me.
Are you best day ever and were Mystic Shielded?
I Mystic Shielded, but I hadn't. Then I best dayed in his go just because I thought he's gonna go try to kill me. So like, I mean, but the good thing about the Eidolon, he's not a battle tactic. He's not a general. He's not a monster. So it's like you can't go, I'll bring it down here. You know, it's not like you can commit everything.
All you can do is regain an objective. That's it you get from him, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. That's why you got to be a little bit careful about turning yourself into a monster because you can give one away. But yeah, so and then in that case, I kind of was like, okay, game on. So I had a concentration of flies to go. You know, that was my thing. He said that he made a huge mistake with how he played the Lord of Afflictions, which I kind of agree with.
It's bad giving something away for free, doesn't it?
Yeah, he killed some trolls, they come back. So it's like, sure, you're not really achieved anything there. It was kind of a bit of a schizophrenic play. It kind of felt a bit like, I think he is almost like, I'll send this one guy in, but the rest of the army is going to go off and deal with the Eidolon. I'm like, why is the one guy like YOLOing into my army on his own? Which, he could have pinned the thralls, but he couldn't do because of the tide. So
if you're going to do it, you put it right on a corner and, play it kind of how you played your Eidolon, right? But attached to your army.
Yeah. And, I just went up, I shot Epidemus off, I got a shark into him in high tide. I had the turtle in the middle objective, and then I charged the Puscoils with the thralls. They killed the big unit of 4 Puscoils. My shark was pinning the other 2. I got the other 2 unit sort of in that side. So that side of the board was like, okay, I've killed most of your stuff.
Killing at 4 blobs is a big swing.
And then my turtle could go from the middle across to deal with the other 2 units of 2. But when you suddenly have like very few heroes, and like Bloab wasn't really in a effective position,
central, wasn't it?
Yeah, and like once it got out of high tide, he didn't have a lot left. I don't think I got many pictures of the aftermath, but it was, I mean, the deployment, that was the turn 1 where he's got his army in a line, and I sort of put my Eidolon over, and I think I made the charge to charge this unit of 2 to pin it on the side, and I killed 1 in the unit with shooting and stuff, and then he was like, oh, I need to go over there, and he sent everything over, and I was like, cool. Apart from the LOA, he just YOLO'd, and then literally I'd killed all that stuff until I got out of high tide.
Where did he use his rerolls from Epidemus? Did he concentrate them in one area?
Well, it was quite funny because I did so much damage to the Lord of Afflictions. He had to make like 13 saves, like ward saves.
So you just don't use it.
And he was like, and he burnt like 4 trying to like math the odds out, and
you were like,
and he was just like, no.
And he didn't. Did he have the 4 up, or did he have the 5 up?
4 up.
Okay, but still pushing odds.
And then it ended up with he just like he Epidemus died before he used them all, basically, or he used them to try and survive him. I can't remember, but he used like
They're,
4 on Lord of 5 on Lord of
yeah,
Afflictions.
they're still in effect if Epidemus dies. But the thing is, if you don't use them well, Epidemus is actually quite a big point sink if you don't get his value out of those, because he just exists and he costs 155 points or whatever, and isn't particularly fast and doesn't really do that much. It's just a model. So yeah, in Nurgle, if you don't get the value out of him, he feels particularly bad.
I think I actually played High Tide and turn 3 in this game. Bizarrely. I don't know. I can't remember, but yeah. No, I did do it in turn 1. I just, in my turn 1, I low tanned. No, I think I did turn 3 because I low tanned my thralls on turn 2, and I played very conservatively to use my shooting because I saw how he wasn't. When he didn't put anything in the sky, I thought even if he YOLOs at me, I can basically ward the thralls anyway and stay defensive. Anyway, I can't remember the ins and outs, but I won that game pretty convincingly. So
solid one for you.
Yeah, really good. So
you're on max wins, including denying your opponents and getting your secondary missions.
I didn't deny my opponents in the first one because he just said 2 years fly contested objective. I was like, well, I can't stop it.
Yeah.
So
fair.
Like it's just automatic, basically.
Sounds like a Daughters of Cain trait.
Yeah. So I mean that was fine, So
yeah.
But yeah, that was a good game. So I was like riding my luck playing Nurgle at this point. I'm like, oh, that's 2 hard matchups and 2 wins, so doing all right.
Hoping to not face them in your third game. 3 in day 1 would be a little bit over the top, wouldn't it?
It would be, yeah. And luckily I didn't. But what did you play game 3? We haven't got any photos of this, have we? But
no. So I didn't take any photos of this because I thought it'd be over before it started. I drew Ben Johnson with a under the comp, a effectively exploitative Lizardman list. All monster mash, very, very good at getting traits and getting bonuses for being monsters. What's this scenario? The one with the
Vice.
Ways? The Vice. I hate this with Nurgle. Only if I'm playing someone with really long range shooting. So I was playing. Yeah, I did. I think he had it was a Carnosaur who is like a wrecking ball, but the weakest thing in his army. 2 Bastillodons, and the rest was Tegodons. My thoughts on lizards don't need repeating. They're bullshit. And yeah, I did my best to there was one key decision with Be'lakor that I lost the option to be in a game that I shouldn't have been in with this one. So there was one point where Ben, I think he attempted to do your thing with the dummied battle tactic. I didn't fall for it, and he ended up not killing a beast as well, which happens a lot with Nurgle. Like people say, "Oh, I'll kill that battle line." If they don't have combat to back it up with, you just have a really good chance to swing this stuff. So he didn't kill a beast, and he failed to wipe out the Great Unclean One in 1 turn, although he hadn't picked it as his strategy. But both of those are big deals in the game. And then there was a point where he had enough in range to, fairly safely not kill Be'lakor from his positioning, pre-measured. So I risked something I shouldn't have. If he'd survived on the 4 wounds or whatever he should have, 5 wounds, something like that, would have been brilliant play. I think he had Bless on him as well, the 6-up ward. Would have been brilliant, would have felt really clever, but I shouldn't have risked something like that. I did, and he spiked, and I saved badly, or didn't save, rather. I lost Be'lakor, and I lost the option to be in a game that I had no right to be in by being an idiot. So that's the kind of the takeaway from that one. It's a very bad scenario and a bad matchup for me, but that's no reason to play like a derp stick.
No, exactly. You've got to play better in those circumstances.
Yeah,
so,
completely. And I think I played pretty well apart from that one. I would have had options, but then at the point at which he got Be'lakor, and I hadn't used Bellacor's ability, and then he got the double, it was just like an utter raffle stomp. Absolutely. Although he was having so much fun bashing up my army, he didn't realize that due to the objective I picked, I was suicide bombing someone into his army. So I think I denied Ben his secondary and got mine.
Nice.
Possibly in that one, which
it's 10 tournament point swing. That's big.
Yeah, I really like that there was something to play for,
Yeah.
because at that point I was so screwed. Ben played solidly as well. You know, he does, and with an army like that, he's very experienced. Looked great as well. You know, I hate Lizardmen, but the army looked wonderful.
Yeah, it's a nice looking army.
Yeah, it's great.
I had the pleasure of playing Speckles, which is nice because I owed him for the last time we played when he
Was it some curse
of the Years off the Star Drake. I borrowed Les's army and he double turned me to move into range, then to curse the Year off the Star Drake, and then charged a Knight Azeroth in cover with I think 3 flayers. Like this is like mixed death, and basically mortal wounded off the Azeroth before he got to swing, and he's 5 wounds for 2 up armor save.
That's cool.
And I was like, great. And it was the hero mission. So I was like, well, I've just lost this game. That was awesome. Anyway, this wasn't to be. Night Haunt, so we had the extra points, Emerald Curse, whatever it is. I was like, I don't know what it does. Can't remember. I had the new book in my head. It's the old book. So the Vice, he's playing Night Haunt. I gave him the turn. I thought, well, he's got a lot of stuff off the table, but not really that bothered because I can be quite defensive. So I made like a boat bastion here. This is after my first turn. Cap the objectives with the sharks, 1 in each corner, 6 away because they're fast enough and they kind of throw away. I don't care that they're there. Eidolon stuff in the middle. Then first turn, I drop the boat in the middle of the table with the turtle behind it, which then, and the thralls on one side, and then the other side's a little bit fragile, that flank, but the way the terrain was, I thought the 20 Grimgas were going one way, not the other, so I was like, well, that's kind of where I'm playing around. Essentially, it's the meme game. I shot off the heroes. So I shot off the Cruciator on the first turn and the Guardian of Souls, and I shot Alinda off.
The most of her not having a 4-up ward.
Yeah, and she's got 7 wounds. It's like, you know, I'd kill her. He charged his Harridans into my Reavers. They stood and shot. They stuck around. They grew back. I was like, yeah, they're still around. He actually rolled a 10 to fight twice with them because they fight when they charge and they fight in the combat phase. He did the same with the Grimghast, but the problem with the Grimghast is that he couldn't really get enough in. And he got into the thralls and the turtle, and I was like, cool, but it was high tide. So he charged me in high tide.
Yeah.
Rolled a 10, fought me first, but killed like 2 thralls, and I just went, take them off. And literally, like, he charged me in high tide. I deleted half his army, but I'd already shot off all his heroes. I shot Linda off in turn 2. And it was like, he's kind of screwed because he has to come in. Turn 2, I'm going first. So unless he spikes his charges and rolls well, but then he without the buffs and without being whole even 12 for +1 a wound, without having the the -1 damage thing on, without having the +1 to wound through the corpse cart, you're suddenly like, I don't have enough buffs around me because I'm stretching out, and then you're not within your ranges. You almost want to get charged.
To play on your terms at that point, in which case
the mission's horrible for him because I've got the depth. I can shoot him from like 40 inches away.
It's a horrible mission.
The turtle just blobs into the middle of the board and basically could shoot anything he wants. He's not going to kill the turtle. It's just nails.
I don't think it's a fantastic mission to have in a competitive environment.
No, I was just lucky that I wasn't playing Max with his Archeon list because he was on the table next to me, and that was the last time I lost that. But basically,
I spoke to his opponent who described your experience in exactly that mission.
Basically, just there is no point playing this game. Like, there literally is no point as long as he doesn't make a silly mistake, which he won't. Yeah. But this was the end of my turn where the turtles fight in the corpse cart, and I just shot off the coach and all this stuff, and he was like, and then charged in here with that and the thralls, and he was like, well, that's game then. I was like, yeah, basically game. So we had a good game. It's a bit of a mismatch, but you know, it's old Night Haunt, you know.
Maybe he'll get his revenge.
Yeah, he probably will with a new book.
He just got an upgrade.
Massive upgrade. But
Linda's not going down that easy now.
But shout out to him because he actually went 4-1, sorry, with Night Haunt, and he only lost to me, and he even beat Ben Johnson in the last round. So he was super happy with that result. So He was on the table next to me, so it was quite at the end, so it was quite good.
He
So.
avenged my sound spanking at Ben's hands.
Yeah, so that was pretty good. Like, I mean, I ended up on 3 wins day one.
Having dropped a single 5-point option?
I think I dropped 2 because against Speckles I couldn't help but kill the corpse cart with my thing, which I think I can't remember. I think that was the mission, but
yeah.
And then I just wanted to talk about it was good. We had the quiz in the evening, and nice way to, end up on the
good peeps hanging out with Russes.
Yes, multiple Russes. All the Russ. So
I made the largest pizza order ever for about a third of the haul,
which I wasn't in on because I'm not eating that.
Too much fun for you.
That's all right. That's fine. Just to keep it's only issue is when like I can smell toast wafting through the house and I'm like, oh, carbs, but it's fine. So
should we cover the armies or should we roll into game 4?
Could do armies.
Yeah.
Armies.
Yeah, I mean there was a very high standard at the event, right?
Yeah.
Very, just like FACEHAMMER, kind of probably a similar level, I would say.
Yeah, probably. I'd say that's a fair assessment. Obviously, like in terms of nominations, this looks really vain that I've got my army on the screen.
I'm on it too.
So we had this Gargant army. I don't think I got the chap's name for that.
It was a really it was a really cool looking army, and he's done that very difficult thing to commit to, where his display board was suitable for only models of the base sizes that he's made recesses for. Yeah, and
particularly like the Gatebreaker with the big shield and the big club, to excuse the jump around, and the idol at the back, like the sort of tiki idol type look of this jungle base. I will say that I wasn't very impressed with the dead Alapex hanging up. Just saying that.
I was just going to mention that it was quite well done, but obviously
a little bit disappointing. Yeah, he did have some base. I guess they're like blanks for when he's using a different list for like mini Gargants. But
for the babies.
Yeah, no, it's nice looking army. So I'm sorry, I don't remember the chap's name, but there we go.
Yours got a nom.
Yeah, but let's talk about Neil Peckett. So Neil Peckett's got nominated with it's actually a really nice Deepkin army. I like the basin a lot.
I would like to specifically cover this one because Neil does what Neil does, which is to turn up, not even put his name next to the army because he's under the impression that, like his army won't get voted for in the field. It's a really, really good looking army. And all the things he'd say are just like, well, you're like, dude, that's just army painting tactics. Like, oh, the infantry aren't quite as good as the shocks or whatever. It looks amazing. His stiffing's brilliant. I really like the color scheme. Basing super solid. Like, just a load of ticks. I thought it looked absolutely awesome. I got to play it, which I was very happy about. And that was the point at which I found out it was his because he hadn't put his name on it. but yeah, it's a gorgeous looking army.
Yeah, I mean it is really nice. I like the he's got the Game Gear Alien World Tufts. I actually put Tufts on mine, which are the alien grass ones, but they're the turquoise and the orangey fire ones. But I like the color scheme, super cohesive. It looks nice. The boat being in normal wood is good as well. I think that's interesting. And Brad's Nurgle, which I thought looked really nice.
Oh, dude, I think he specifically said that he'd listened to our feedback on one of our previous ones.
Yeah, he said that to me because I said like his basing wasn't consistent and it wasn't that he needed something else, so he put all these like funnel fungus plants on them.
It
looks so good.
It's probably one of the most effective. I mean, Brad's a very talented painter actually, especially considering the small amount of time he's been in the hobby. And the army just now doesn't look rushed. And then he's put this key trait on it with I presume that he's got 3D printed now. These 3D printed like alien blooms. They look perfect for Nurgle. They're much better than the stupid trumpets you got on the trees.
And the only criticism I had was, please put them around the trees. Like, the trees don't have any on them. I said, if you just put a couple round the bottoms of the trees and the roots, like, it would add so much.
Brad's trees look better than most people do. I think his color scheme works really, really well for them, actually. But I hate the trees. I think the trees are an abomination in general. So anything you can do to bring them up a level or use proxies for them is a good one. The army looks great. He's also displayed it well, which counts for a fair bit.
I think my favourite thing is like the turquoisey colour on the Blight Kings. I think I said to him he should probably do that on the swords on the Plague Bearers.
Yes.
And
you could do it. You could get away with doing it as some like weird ass verdigris.
Yes,
it's Nurgle. Yeah,
yeah. So like, just put that bluey turquoise on the weapons, so they pop with the rest, and maybe do it like on the beast. Try and do like something in there, like maybe one of the tentacles or like the tongue or something coming out the mouth, and just try and get that turquoise in the army.
You could even get away with dropping a couple of like bronze shields with verdigris on them.
Yeah, on the base.
Like get some like
Stormcast bases and put like rotty Nurgle base shields on the bases or something. But again, like, you know, like massive improvement from the team event. So nice to see it nominated.
Really good. He's put the time in. Well worth it. Looks awesome.
Then the Null Myriad by Tim Pierce, which is just like perfection of technical painting. Just excuse the horrifically blurry pictures. I have photographed them before. And yeah, but there, if I got a close up here, you'll better see.
I think that the painting snob in me and you just finds it like this army is, you know, it's not like it's flawless insofar as you like pick a mistake or show me somewhere where it's been rushed, because I haven't found one yet.
No,
across an entire army.
And it's Bone Reapers, and like highlighting bone is like, it's like we say, it's like the doing all those properly, like not dry brushing. And if that's still valid, but I mean, actually edge highlighting, a line highlighting all those bones.
The thing is, the Bone Reapers are actually pretty old school models. Like I could see a lot of them being cast out of metal in their sculpting style. And what you get with old models and compared to nice ones, pick like Stormcast or whatever, is with modern models that are designed in a modern way and are nice ones, you get this lovely progressive curve where this is how much time you spent on the army and this is how much better it looks. With older style ones, you get this, which is the first bit. And then all of this time counts for nothing, like absolutely nothing, until you get to the very last, like 10 or 15% of your 5,000 hour slog, where suddenly, you know,
it's just
edge
like
highlighghting or whatever else becomes worth it.
But the way I describe it is like, in terms of like a speedometer, this like 4/5 of it is like quick, and the last 20% is like, to get it from there to there takes an inordinate amount of effort. It takes like 4 times the effort of the other bit.
It's like 80% of the way takes 20% of the time, then the last 20% takes 80% of the time. Yeah, it's horrible. Yeah. So show's all over. Just in love with it still.
But it's great. And he did a display board, which was new, so that was good to see.
Yeah.
Quite interesting base. I quite like the broken up cork on it and the color. He's got the base. It's good. I mean, like, ironically, the black rims almost break up the base, but you need it, I think. So I don't know. I think brown rims might look all right on those, but
it might
just
not allowed to admit that.
Not allowed. And my army was nominated, which I was super
looks great,
happy about. Still
to be in there.
Hadn't highlighted it. Yeah, I've still not done the highlights I want to do on it to bring it up, but the toughs added a lot, I think.
It's so strange that yours and Neil's are so similar in so many regards, right? Like, yeah.
And I just really happy that it was nommed, and I think I did 10 extra Reavers and Lotan for this event and the extra boat, so I had a bit to paint for it. So, but I appreciate that. So thanks for everyone who gave me nice comments. It's always good to hear.
It does look great. I think possibly more than any event I've ever been to. Not that I necessarily agree. I thought that like 2 armies in the room had been missed that could have been there. I think out of the armies that got nommed, maybe like 9 out of 12 of them, you just looked at and like, my God, people have got better at color choices.
Yeah.
Right. Not just like, oh, technically your lines are done well or whatever, but like really, like your scheme's wicked. Tim's is, you know, you can't go wrong with a scheme like that. Gorgeous lizards. Ben's lizards were great. But you're looking out, you're like, good choices, good choices, good choices, good choices, solid palette, blah, 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 blah. And stuff has really leveled up, especially at events like Alex's that encourage people with that mindset. It's just super nice to see.
And then in the display board ward continued with Maxwell's Archeon Slaves Army, where he's even got his Twitter or Instagram handle, probably, I don't know, it's probably both on there. it's just, I love the way it looks like it's glowing because he's applied the light with the lava glow so well. And then there's the spot colours in there, like the turquoises and golds and stuff. It just brings it out. So
he's another person who has had. I'm not saying that he did it as a result of our feedback, but our feedback for why his army, couldn't get to the maximal level at previous events was that he had different elements. It was part of his theme and scheme. It was different chaos elements. They had like slightly different styles and whatever. With everything having the same style in his army, and with an Archeon that's that converted that took 3 months, I believe. It's just like, this is one of the most impactful looking armies that the Warhammer scene has ever seen. Absolutely outstanding.
He's cleaning up with it as well at the moment. So
yeah, he is. I think the only place where he won't clean up is when he's got snobs like us picking on, like the assembly or stuff like that, because if you've got someone of Tim's level and someone of Max's level, which is both just ridiculously high for an army, like almost unheard of for army painting, it's like painted by G, just don't see it often. You start having to find the nitpicky bits, because what else are you going to say? Like, that's flawless, that's gorgeous, your color choices are perfect, your selection of models is brilliant, you've got different heights, you've got a display board. All you can do is start picking on issues with it, like that bit broke off and you didn't replace it or something.
Yeah, then there was a very strange converted mask army proxy thing that I think I've seen before. I don't know whose army it is.
Not to my personal taste, this one.
No, I can't remember what it's even representing. Is it meant
Nurgle.
to be Nurgle? Okay. I guess I went that great and clean one. Flies, Lord of Afflictions, something. Yeah, it's Beast and Nurgle, maybe. I don't know.
Seen it as a Twitch army before as well. Not that I can talk about proxies or anything, but obviously, I quite like it's somewhat reminiscent of John's, of Kyrios' crazy army that he took for FACEHAMMER and the stuff that he does. Like nightmare stories. But like for me, the technical level of this, particularly the basing and stuff, just wasn't at the same standard as the other stuff at the event.
It's very creative.
Yeah.
So.
But I think that's about as finished as my army.
Yeah.
And I didn't display mine because I didn't feel right displaying mine.
And then we've got Russ Charles's amazing Stormcast, the other Russ, as he's put on his badge.
He has.
I was really concerned that people would write Russ and it'd be like, which Russ? So I was like, I hope people don't just write Russ, because like it is probably for him, right? But I don't want it to detract from his votes, because I think he had a chance to get painting prizes. I really like his army. I just love it. The colour choice: orange, blue, purple, cream, silver. I could say it's not traditional Hallowed Night colours, but actually it's still amazing, so it's fine.
Yeah, well, when someone is a incredibly talented artistic professional in their professional hours, and then they put that amount of thought into their hobby time, they're going to do some good stuff. His army's gorgeous.
Yeah. And then there was Tom Blacksaw's like Chaos Dwarf. Not Chaos Dwarf army, because he's a Sigmar.
Yeah. I quite like this one. Like, Tom tends to pick a thing per army and concentrate on that, and he's upskilling himself as a painter. So he had the fishy ogres previously, and on this one you can see he's tried out quite a lot of new techniques. I think it looks really effective on the table.
I think I said to him, one of the best things I think he's done is that luminous green spot color, which then offsets the orange and the dark other drab colors.
Yeah, really nice.
It's why like Skaven look great when they're dark with like luminous green. It's that kind of like that palette.
Yeah. Bring a black backdrop for your army.
It was a shame there was like a white thing directly behind it. Yeah,
exactly wrong.
Yeah. Then we had Steve Scriven's like old school wood elf army of leaves everywhere and oranges and yellows, which is probably a rebased old army, right? I think.
Yeah.
Still
solid theme to it. A lot of models on the table. Always going to be effective. Should squidge it together more for display.
It needs to be like more like a diamond and together. They're not so spread out. It's really hard to photograph when you spread it out like that. That's a very old school way of setting an army out.
It is.
Then Ben Johnson's lizards we spoke about, which is super effective.
Yeah, they're really good. I mean, Ben just doesn't drop on the ball on an army ever, regardless of what he'll say. He'll be like, "Oh, it's smoke and mirrors," or whatever. Like every single army Ben puts out just looks fantastic. The basing's always well executed, in particular, even if he doesn't have background. But like he's got little snaky bits that I think broke off his. They broke off one of his Bastillodons, and then he was like, "Oh, I'll just put them all over the bases." And so he's got these little. They're tiny.
Yeah.
He saw me squinting at his bases halfway through our game, and I was like, "Oh, it's Snake."
Well, I think it's because he's built one as a solo engine. You're still going to get all the snakes from the sprue for the Sotek engine, so he's just put them on the bases, which
it's really good.
The base is using the hexagonal giant causeway stuff out of the Beast Grave Underworld's terrain. Super good. Lizards. Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
And Nick Hardin's Flesh Eaters, which I think look really cool.
Oh yeah, lovely.
Gargant's really colourful as well, which really does bring a lot. Vomiting Terrorgeist or Zombie Dragon, where he's like puking.
An effective and brave scheme. Just another good set of choices.
Yeah, nice bespoke wooden stairs on the Carnal Throne, make that a little bit more bespoke, a bit more unique. It's almost a conversion you don't even notice because you just looks like the Carnal Throne and you just forget that he's actually changed the base on it. So, yeah, awesome. And then Hughes Lizardman.
This is, for me, this is really leveled up. I think people, it always is a fan favorite because it's bright as all hell and there's crazy stuff everywhere. But the degree to which his army interacts with his basing in particular, as well as the fact that he's leveled up his technical painting, I think I actually really like. I have no soft spot for Lizardman anywhere, but he's got to the right of the shot, he's got a Steggy like tipping itself into a tree and going to knock it over. It looks really, looks like a scene from Jurassic Park. It's phenomenal. It's a really, really good looking army, and you can sit down for like 10 minutes and just carry on seeing little bits where he's put the love in. So for me, he's really leveled that one up.
Yeah, it's cool. I like it a lot. Yeah, super good. I think that's it. That's all of them. Yeah. That's all the pictures
really
I got.
High quality.
If I've missed anyone, I apologize, but I think that's it.
I reckon that's it.
Yeah. Do we remember who won what?
I think Russ Charles got Techie Painting Award. No, he got Judge's Choice Award.
Yeah. I want to say it was Max, Russ, and Tim that won.
Yeah, it was. Max got.
Max was voted.
Player voted. Yeah.
And the other two were Judges Awards.
Yeah, and then Tim got Techie Painting Award.
Yeah.
Lack of remembering what it's actually called.
I think it was called Technical Painting Award, but yeah.
I wasn't. Okay, cool.
I mean, it's kind of what it is. So super humbled to be nominated in that field, and congrats on the winners. Really nice hobby. If you want to obviously like see pictures, I think they were tweeted by Alex Ghostom on Twitter, so you can go and check those out. And obviously you've seen people's handles on there, and just they're just awesome.
I think Alex still has places for the non-compy Carnage, but I would expect, like, if you're into painting and you didn't get a FACEHAMMER ticket and you want to go really good event, I would thoroughly recommend Alex's events as a first event to go to, whether you're good at painting or not.
I might upscale my Idoneth for that.
Yeah, I think that's a really good deadline.
Because it's August, so it gives me some time.
Species.
I am enjoying them a lot, like more than I probably should, to be honest.
I might be bored of Nurgle by then.
Yeah, you're probably bored now, right?
Well, if I carry on writing stupid lists, then maybe I'll carry on being entertained.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not too bad.
I like the models.
Well, that's a good reason.
Yeah.
It's a good reason to do it, right? You like the models. It's probably the only reason to do it, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So, day 2, game 4. You were playing Jack Mayland, I want to say. I recognise the army.
Yeah, that was a good looking army.
Really nice.
What a gent as well. I love that, awesome, right? So, people saw the draw and they were just like, "Oh, he's lovely," and just everyone said he's lovely. When you hear that about someone, I think I said that to you about Gabe as well. Like, it's a nice thing to be told before a game, especially if you're going to be playing in like 15 hours or whatever it was at that point. So we rocked up, and having felt like I had 2 fairly hard matchups in scenarios not in my favor, being against the 2-drop Phoenix Temple and bends in the long ways. Please don't do shooting army deployment, and you get extra damage against my army, and I get less damage against yours. I was really hoping for like an army that would get to me on combat terms. This turned out okay, but my god, is that the most aggressive army Warhammer has ever seen? Like, it's 3 war chanters, 2 cabbages, and pigs.
Yeah,
and that's it. No matter, like,
don't need magic, don't want teleports, just want to smash it.
Yeah, I think maybe he's got like an arcane tome on someone for the +1 to wound on a
bash him
spell.
Yeah, bash him, lads.
He's good as well. He's got the trait where he puts wounds on someone
to get bonuses to cast.
To get bonus,
yeah.
And
so
then
you can, because
so he just heals himself back up.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if he did that on the Maw Crusher, the Ballsy play.
So well, I think he's got it on the Maw Crusher.
Yeah.
He puts the wounds. Yeah, he puts the wounds on the.
It hurts the War Chanter. Yeah.
And the War Chanter just dances it himself, and if he fails, he's a War Chanter, so who cares?
The funny thing is when you hero face move and do it on the enemy to get the bonus to cast, and they're like, "Oh, what are you doing? You're doing damage to me, and you're getting benefit. What is this?"
I think it's that way around.
Yeah, it probably is.
Yeah, it's a super aggressive army. Like, just the potential of this army is horrible to even think of. You're gonna have 3 things at +1 damage from War Chanters. Something's going to be 3d6 charging, because he can have one with 3d6 charge, one with +1 attack, I think, from the War Chanter, and then the other one with something else.
+1 damage from the War Chanters.
But they've got a secondary.
+1 so hit or 3d6 charge or heal.
Yes, he's got all of those going on across the army. So it's kind of like it's got a magic phase. It just doesn't happen in the magic phase. And I Archeoned aggro cabbage in this one.
Yeah.
And what we had is basically a scenario with 2 very important priorities. I think I didn't win one of them. I don't know. I won the first of them. He was pinned enough that I was okay to give it away, and that's always a powerful swinging point in this type of matchup. Sloppity did his work. He doesn't have an army that could shoot him off or stuff like that. And especially from the practice of the Just Play event, where I was put into aggro list after aggro list, I was feeling a bit more confident in being able to play on my own terms in this one. So I ended up, it was like, I mean, this speaks to the destructive potential of his destruction, but like at the point at which I definitely had the game in the bag, he had barely anything left on the board. Then he got 2 turns and my army was nearly gone.
Wow.
Just like mullered, just like plowed on down flank and just stuff. There was one point where we were trying to work out, like, the game was this was like, it was going to me at this point.
Yeah.
He was about to do something. I was like, no, wait, let's think about sequencing and smashing and bashing. He can go here, that can make this charge, he can do that, that can do that. And if everything went just right, then it didn't even go just right. His army just got a shit ton of damage and he just went bush, 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 bush. I think he wiped out like 3.5 units or things from my army in just 1.5 turns or something like that. So yeah, we ended up with barely anything on the table. It was a really good matchup. He's an absolute gent to play, as everyone told me he was. And yeah, it's a good one.
Awesome. I had the pleasure of playing Gabe.
So such a nice opponent, isn't he?
Such a hard army to play against, but yeah,
he knows his stuff as well.
So I kind of, he's got all his list is really good. He's got, like,
I was going to say, can we talk about his list, because this is someone using their brain with Nurgle, which is nice to see.
Yeah. So he has got basically Orguts, Demon Spew, Morbidix, Rotigus, with the Lord of Afflictions, with the AoE can't use command ability 7-inch thing, or if you're holding within, you can't receive. If you can't,
only use that if
issue
Lord of
within
Afflictions is your general, which people often don't want to do
because you don't want to put them in the sky because your general's not on the battlefield. But Rotigus is a War Master.
Yeah.
I think Orguts is as well. He might not be. I think he just gets a CP. But basically, he's got multiple War Masters, so he doesn't need the LOA on the table. But also, he's playing Befouling Host, and because Rotigus is a general, is a demon, he gets the extra tree without.
It's really clever.
So it's clever, yeah. Really good list. 2 beasts, 20 plague bearers is the the rest of it, and everything else is a character. He's got a Slopity at the back, so Arcane Tome on that with favored boxes, which is the you can't move, can't do shit. Oh, it's -1, -1, -1. So I had it's tectonic interferences. It's not a great mission for me as well, and they're close, so it's not ideal. So I did flip the tides, because knowing it was going to come down to nitty gritty in the turn, and basically like a lot of this came down to little small margins. So I tried to like dupe Rodgers, left him on a wound. I left the Lord of Afflictions on a wound. I left one Plague Bearer alive, and then he was able to like rally 4 back, and then I left 1 alive again, and then it just all these little margins. But there was a key turn where I decided to move away. So I had the choice here. Do I move the thralls like this way and make a line, or do I like go in here, or but I wasn't in high tide, and I was like, I don't know here. And basically I decided to move away and redeploy my ranks to avoid the 2 Maggot Lords and try and stop them coming in and concentrate on the other stuff. I did. An annoying thing is Rodgers is on a wound, 1 Plague Bearer left alive. I killed the beasts, and then basically the Plague Bearers ended up growing back, and then he had 1 left, didn't quite kill him, didn't quite kill that, didn't quite kill this, and then it came down to a turn where I high tide dropped, and I had my army in a line facing Rotagus and 2 Maggot Lords, and he just charged me and just wiped me out, because they do. And like
the disease points are painful on your infantry as well, aren't they?
They are. And the issue is as well, like even the sharks, even fighting like Nurglings with a shark, or you just getting disease, you get immortals, you've got 8, you've got no save, you've got no healing.
Are underrated. They really are.
It is.
Don't die and put down points.
The annoying thing is, if I killed the Rotagus, that was his Dorothy, and he would have lost his secondary. And to leave it on 1 wound after I duped him out of his all that defense. And I was like, I could do it. And I left it. And Gabe said to me that my rolls were pretty below average and his saves were pretty above average.
Yeah. And it was the swingy bit.
Even the Lord of Afflictions left on 1 wound. Then he gets the Nurgle heal D3 wounds back. Then he gets another turn D3 wounds back. Suddenly he's got 6 wounds. He's got 4 up. It's like, and then I was slightly out of position, so I couldn't issue a command ability to the thralls, so I lost a lot in battle shock, which was a slight, because I didn't quite understand the dynamic of that thing. I've not played against it before, so I kind of misplayed. I should have spread my heroes out a bit more, so he couldn't do that. He played it really well. Super close game, but I ended up losing that game. Was a close run thing, but
Is that your first loss to Nurgle?
Yeah. If I had won the turn roll into 3 or 4, can't remember what turn, I think I would have won the game. But
yeah, he said the same to me. He said it was really close, and you had some unlucky dice as well. But he's a very good player, and I really like that he's been so creative with his list.
Yeah, super good list. I really like it. I like the model choices as well. The only thing I might change is rather than Morbidix have Blowab, because I just like Blowab. But other than that,
easy boy, isn't he?
Yeah. He's cheaper as well. 20 points cheaper. So it's like,
I think it's quite a small. The heroes are really good, but there's not much else in the list. It
doesn't need it. To be honest, like the more I play against Nurgle, I just think you take max heroes and sod the everything else is just mins. Don't need it.
Closer to what my list was, but I took a Be'lakor instead of something sensible.
Like I generally think that one of the taking 3 Maggot Lords and a Lord of Afflictions and then just whatever.
2 Great Unclean Ones isn't bad at all either.
No, I mean I
either side of your Plague Bearers. I was
really impressed with Blight Kings. I played against a guy who had 15, 1 unit 10, 1 unit 5, and they truck. They are really good. Anyway, that was say a guy, it's Dan at the Wargaming thing. So super close game. I knew it was going to be tough. Gabe knows what he's doing. He's a good player. Mission wasn't super favourable. Matchup's bad. Didn't get the rub of the green, but still thought I played well. I was in the game. That's what I like about Idoneth. You're in the game. Didn't feel like I was out of the game. So it's like,
I think as well, probably like most other people with your army against that army in that situation would have wouldn't have really had a chance. So you must have played really well.
I tried. Let's put it that way. I tried my best, but was not to be. So there we go. But yeah, still had super fun times. So it's all good. I gave both my cleanest and best opponent award.
He's an incredible opponent. Can't
because I just had a great time. So I was just like, well, good game, like super tactical, and you know, he was a nice chap to play. So you know, it was
like that. People invent a creative list with power army and come and then smash it in a manner where people are like, cool, here's all the sports.
Yeah, and then game 5. Then you played Neil Peckett's Idoneth.
Yeah. I played the mystery Deepkin player who turned out to be Neil, who I've been chatting to the night before. Yeah, really nice to get to play him. What stupid scenario was this? The Heroes one.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Sorry, Neil. Like it's just not.
It's awful for Deepkin.
I had 5.
Because your king has to basically stand on one not doing his job, and he's not that killy, and I think he only had 1 hero.
He had the little lady,
the Tidecaster. So he's got 2 heroes. So one's a little wizard, and he's got a king. It's like which is another reason I like the Eidolon, because in this mission I've got something that can.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, his army is like really scary for me actually by matchup standards in a normal one, especially if you know it's one where he gets to start further away and it's not about blobbing heroes on something. But like the odds were stacked in my favor in this situation. He played pretty well actually. He managed to keep, I think he ended the game with both of his heroes alive. I had pretty much lost all of my army. Be'lakor, I'm not sure where the picture is at, but Be'lakor I used him better in this game, finally. Now, I used him okay in a few of my games. I didn't use him well against Johnson at all. But Be'lakor went and just stood in the way in front of, hitting the turtle that he turned off. And his 4-up invulnerable save did 4-up invulnerable save things. It was great. I felt like I used him to the best of his ability in that game. It was a favorable scenario for me anyway, but I really got a pretty epic amount of value out of that. And the blob turn where I was fully aware that I was sacrificing potentially all of my plague bearers just to stop him from piling in anywhere with his infantry. The infantry does muller plague bearers in his army.
Probably doesn't truck. Them. Yeah, you didn't do enough. That's why against a plague bearer blob, I'm not scared of them at all. I know I could just go through them. So
he underestimated his army's damage potential against mine at one point, and I had to remind him that things would be okay, and I didn't need to count what was in my deep pile because my unit was going to need to roll something impossible on battle shock, and then I got slapped for being rude because I rolled a 1. So I just had these 3 dudes standing in the middle in a position where they were so surrounded that they couldn't even reform or anything like that. But yeah, it was not in his favor. It was lovely to get a close look at his army. Spent a lot of time looking at it closely while it ran at me and fished me to death. But the scenario it's just like I don't particularly enjoy that scenario, and it was obviously in my favor.
I haven't played it in 3. I just thought it was a thing of 2. I was like, oh, there's one that you do heroes. I was like, oh, really?
I think TOs may not use it. For
Problem is,
reason.
It's like if you play against Marathi, you're like, oh, cool.
I played it against Marathi.
Just that was good, wasn't it?
And Mullida, but it took until turn 5 and all of my soul. Yeah. How about you then? What was your final game? It was an interesting one, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I was playing against Darren and his mega knob of trolls, and I was
Darren's mega knob.
I think that's what it's called, a mega knob of trolls. Mega mob, not mega knob. There you go. Sorry, Darren, I've just outed you there. Can't tell from the picture. No, it's cool. I don't know, no one would be mind really.
What's he fiddling with in that picture?
His tape measure. So basically, lots of trolls. Now, sounds like, Mimi, it's Gloomspite, they're easy, but it's the hero mission. He's got a troll hag. All his stone Stonehorn unit, Stonehorn, not Stonehorns, Stone Troll units can do a thing where they basically do D3 mortal wounds to something within 12, which gets around the Deepkin shoot rule because it's not a shooting attack. And I was like, you could just rock my heroes dead and I'm basically can't win.
The army's not slow. It's pretty much all got a 5. Well, a lot of it's got a 5-up ward.
Yes, all the rock guts do. -1 to hit on the fell guys. They can heal. Yeah. I was like, oh,
it's
this
like 3s and 3s, 2-inch reach, D3 damage.
3 damage.
3 damage.
Yeah, just flat 3. Ren 2 to 3 damage.
They are a dependable army.
I know that you've got to give stuff respect if you don't like, because you still got to play the game, right? So
yeah.
And Darren was like, I don't know why you're so like thing about it. I was like, because I just don't know. Like, I'm like, it's a hard matchup for me. Like, I've got to be really careful here because if you had like, he had like 6 trolls in the shrine, he had another 2 units of 6. If they just moved up and all chopped on my hero and killed my general, I lose my regen, my men back. I lose a hero. That's huge. The game basically ended up with me playing around like these 2 objectives. So I had my Eidolon on 1 and I had my other 2 heroes here. The Troll Hag was over here. And then what happened was the turn 3 roll I won, and I was like, if I take the turn, he's going to remove my objective. Fine, and he did, but then my Eidolon basically teleported over the other side of the board to go back over that one. I killed a lot of his stuff in High Tide and deleted stuff, and he countercharged my guys in the boat with the Hag and with the Puke to try and get a battle tactic, and then I countercharged that. So it was a a bit of a back and forth game. So this is where he's charged me, and he's dropped a unit of 6 out of the the shrine. But then what you could do is you can bring units back as well on a 4-up, so you got 3 back, and you're like, still horrible. 3 trolls. Like, I know they're trolls, but still. I did kill his dank hold and these guys here, took the object with the Eidolon, and then he charged into the boat and killed my Reavers, but then I countercharged here, killed the Hag, killed them, shot them off, so the turtle come over and charged into here. So basically, like, it was game then, but it was, I won the turn rolls I needed to win. If he'd won the turn rolls, I think he could have easily beat me. It was a close game. It looks not close, but actually it was pretty close. I
think people underestimate especially the troll queens fight list. Like, they have a good profile. If you look at their resilience, are they movement 5?
6, I think.
5, 6, yeah. I think they felt like they have a good solid profile. Yeah.
I mean, I think you can run and throw rocks as well because it's not a shooting attack. So
like, quality battle line.
I was a little bit worried about that, and so I was trying to be super cautious.
Being really coy with you.
He was a bit like, "Why are you so worried?" And why are you? I said, because I've just played against 3 armies with 5-up wards. I just know how spiky it can be. It's like it's just like you just know. But I felt a bit bad because I think I had PTSD from the Gabe game of the luck, and I was just every dice roll I was like, no, I was under average. I was under average. She's like, why are you worrying so much? Like, I just had a traumatic experience. But yeah, it came good. So yeah, that was put me on 4 wins, which was nice.
Good boy. 4 wins, a paint and nom in with a chance at that point, and you done well on your secondary Alex things.
Yeah, I think I dropped 1. And I denied 4 or 3. So yeah, pretty good. And I didn't know this. I was like, oh, I don't know where I'm going to finish. But actually, I ended up finishing 3rd, which I was really surprised. I didn't think I was going to podium. So
you were chatting to me like a week before, saying like, oh, like not really, like podiumed in a while. There you go.
No, exactly. And then I'll do that so you can see it. I was super pleased. I was actually surprised because they were calling out the best Axe was doing the best in race, and I wasn't called, and I was like, oh, maybe I didn't come in the top 10 then, or someone else leapfrogged me. And I know that he doesn't give those to the podium, and then especially when Freddie was announced as the best order. And he was 5-0. So I thought, well, he must be above me and someone else must be on the podium. But actually, there was a mistake with the results, which he corrected because he initially gave me 2nd place, but I was actually 3rd. and Freddie was second, and Gabe was first. So it was Gabe, Freddie, me, and then Speckles was up there with best death. I think Baz was best destruction. I don't know what he was using.
Yeah.
Calvin and Max were all up there, so it was like, and then that was a pretty good result for me because I had less event points than two people below me, but obviously the painting, nom, and sports and that knocked me up. So
I like the inclusion of two different types of sports. That was a very, very solid, well considered idea.
Good for me because I got to clean game, because I generally do play a clean game, but I'm not the most like bombastic in your face guy, and I do the face when I'm playing. I get the concentration face, so people are like, I said it's just when I concentrate, I don't give any. And then like Darren was like, you don't give anything away. Like I do stuff and you don't react at all. And I said, yeah, I know, it drives my partner up the wall because she does something and she goes, isn't this great? And she's all excited. I'm like, yeah, it's great. It's like, well, you're not happy. I'm like, no, I am. Why aren't you reacting? I said, this is just what I do. I don't, I can't help it. So, no, it's good. I get into like Warhammer poker face mode, which is like, you know, not the best thing for sports votes.
No, I did it with my mixed order. I didn't have a single, I didn't have 1% of my brain spare for other stuff with that list. Took all concentration at all times.
It's not like playing gnarly gargants, you just turn your brain off.
No, I got better best sports votes playing with my stupid Cunning Ruck Bone Splitters, which is the most abusive army that's ever existed in Warhammer, than I did with my order. Yeah. I did one thing once and then I didn't have to think much at that point. Great result though. Awesome for Gabe. Like absolutely psyched to see him up there. And he was kind of confused by it all, which was really sweet to see.
And you came 16th?
Yeah, I did. I
Good
finished
result.
much higher than I was expecting because I'd lost two games in the first day. I think I did well on Alex things. I missed one of mine and didn't get one of my opponents.
Yeah.
So that will have helped a little bit. If my army was a slightly higher standard, like if it was like it was and it was finished, or closer to finished, and I'd got a nom, then I probably would have done fairly solidly had you added 5 points to that or whatever it is. I guess
it's 10.
Oh, 10. Cool.
Nom.
Yeah.
So it would have shot you up to 161. You would have been top 10.
Cool.
But above Ben Curry. So it's
place to be.
My painting nom definitely shot me up onto the podium. So
that's good. Feels like a good balance at Alex's events. I like the weighting of stuff. I like there being two types of best sports, and I like it being comped. His next one isn't comped. I'll of course still be there, but
I'm not really embracing the filth.
I probably won't change particularly what I take.
No.
But really, really good event.
Yeah, so you can head over to his website, follow him on Twitter. I'll put links in the description. Obviously, the TTO events you can see the results and everything on there and the lists if you want to go have a look. But yeah, super event. Big congrats to Gabe and Freddie as well. Both people have beaten me in the last couple of events I've been to, so well done. And obviously all the painting sports winners, well deserved. And yeah, I think getting any sort of award, whether it's best in faction or anything or like that, is great. But also just like getting a nom was super achievement in that field, I think. So
definitely was. Did we mention that Gabe got best spots?
No, but we will now. He got the
what a lad.
So he did. I think it was best sports, the combination of clean and sports. I can't remember.
I think so. It was the highest.
Or he got the cleanest player, I think. The highest place cleanest. Yeah, he got the cleanest player award.
Yeah.
And then because there was two. There was best sports and the cleanest player, and he got the cleanest player. So
yeah. So like what more can you say? That's how you win an event. Do it like that.
Yeah, and it's interesting that like in the top four, like Gabe, Freddie, me, and Baz have got 2 or more clean votes. Yep. So like I think that's quite good. There's a chap called Will on 6 free votes mid pack, but yeah, I think it's quite nice that you get like some of those. Like I don't tend to get many sports votes, but nice to get some clean because I tried to play a clean game. So
really good idea. Should we steal it for FaceHAMMER?
Yeah. You're doing the admin though.
Okay.
So super impressed with the event. Had a great time. Really pleased with a podium. It's been my first one for a while. And I've got 2 on the trot now, so that's good. So because I won the one day I went to, so I'll do a little show on that at some point. But yeah, that was super good. The Hereford Wargaming event I went to was awesome. I had some really good games. So yeah, I managed to win that. It was only a one day, but still a good feeling. That's 2 events, 2 podiums. So yeah, happy.
Only down from here.
And the Aspect of the Sea is still in my languishing army list. So still can't drop it out. It's too good for battle tactics.
I love that you the only reason you didn't drop him out is because you already submitted a list. That's so cool, isn't it?
Yeah, that was for the team event, and then he performed. Even though he was on the bench, he was like 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
This is your last chance.
Well, I was talking to my model during the game. Error. People think I'm really weird. I'm there basically going, "Don't fuck this up. Don't fuck this up." No, it's never that. It's like you better not fuck this up. I'm like the parent that really wants to live precariously through their child, and I'm like, you better perform, because I don't have the opportunity to do this, but you do have the opportunity to make this game yours. So you better not miscast. No don't re-roll into a miscast, which will cost me the game against Freddie. I'm never gonna live that down. So I got to get my revenge on Freddie. Freddie, coming for you.
Was Freddie was he your Deepkin bro you were chatting to?
No, that's Mike Stewart. So Mike Stewart, I've played with
very passionate eel chats with.
Yeah, I wanted to know how he went because we did the show. We talked about his Iron Art list. If you go check out the Carnage pre-game show, we talk about his list. We cover it. I wanted to find out because he's been playing Seraphon, and I wanted to find out how his list went because his list potentially looks really good. He had Morsar Guard, and I was like, oh, Morsar, that's interesting. He had Ironarch, he had Volturnus, and I was like,
proper aggro list, isn't it?
But I think
Can open a king as well.
He basically said to me like, the list, you just cannot make a mistake and you cannot get doubled, and you've got, and I was like, yeah, I understand all this. Yes. And I was like, it's not easy to use. And he hasn't got the mitigation of the ward or the infantry blobs or the regen.
He's not got the shooting to like keep it damaged here while he waits here for the double when he can go.
He's got a fair amount because he's got a lot of sharks, but he doesn't. It's like the bodies of the capturing and the regen and the 5-up ward on the Namati and all that. He doesn't have that, and it's like, and I'm like, yeah, it's great because you point and click delete, but then they have a turn and you lose all your stuff, and then you're like, oh. So, but I think he went 3 wins, 2 losses. I think he's like, I don't know where he is. Mike Stewart. Oh, there he is, Michael Stewart. So he's like, he finished below you, so he's 20th. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's interesting. Yeah. I have been playing around with eels and king. I've got eels to build. Like I've got these that I'm building. I've got them all set, like ready to go. So I'm going to try out an eel list. I do like the 6 Morsar as a battle line, but I'm going to combine it with 2 units of 10 Reavers. So 10 Reavers, Morsar, Turtle, Sharks, probably, and then characters. And then I think
I wrote an F level 5,000 soon, aren't you?
I'm literally going to have every option. I've got 6 Sharks, 6 Morsar, Volturnus, and a King. So I've actually got both here. So I've got both Kings. And then every hero, 40 Thralls, 20 Reavers, all the stuff, 2 boats. You know, it's like I've got pretty much everything that I need. So I'm going to get the whole collection up to a scratch level so I could just literally play any Idoneth army I want. Yeah.
And then whichever one you pick, you've got the opportunity to upgrade that unit's painting.
Yeah. And then that's what I'll do is I'll write a list with the new stuff in it, paint it for the event. Then once I've got everything, I'll go, right, let's write a list and paint it, upscale it for the event, and then upscale the bits. I then change it again, then I upscale the bits, and just eventually I'll have the whole lot upscaled. So it's kind of how I'm doing it. It's kind of fell into it because I don't know why I decided to do a Deepkin army now. I can't even remember why I started it.
Because
I just like the models, and I was like, and I've always wanted one.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, let's do a Deepkin army, and then it's just kind of spiraled, and I enjoy playing with it. So
no reason to stop.
No, and like I do really like my Nurgle, but I was painting like extra Maggot Lords. It's like a big deal because of the scheme that I've got.
Yeah, you start high quality,
and they're quite popular, and that puts me off a little bit.
That's a large part of the reason. I like being a snowflake. That's a large part of the reason that I had to change my list because mine wasn't the same as any list that I've ever seen, especially 2 units of drones. But still, it did feel a bit monotonous.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I can carve out a little bit of space on a Deepkin, like Deepkin results, and then hopefully switch back to a death faction when I can.
You've got
I keep
underwater
joking.
death anyway.
Well, that's what I keep saying. This is my new death army, my Morphan eels, because I want to compete in games, but I like deathy armies, and they're quite dark and sinister and death feeling. Yeah. So I get to put models back on the table, and I get to like cast magic.
What OBR wish they were.
Teleport, and like it's almost like I'm living precariously. Like, you know, my Namati are my Mortek guard, and you know my sharks are kind of like better than anything in the OBR book. But you know, like the turtles, like I don't know. They don't even know. They're just better. They don't. You know.
Yeah, they are better.
I can't say. I wish I had Arcan in it though. Like if I could take Arcan's rules and have it in the Idoneth army and have his like bring models back is like 4 units, and with the bonuses to cast and everything, I just put the Eidolon out and I just put them straight in the list and be like, this is the best army in the world. Arcan Deepkin. That's what we want. Narrative. Write the story, Phil Kelly. Make it
put a prime in.
That to be honest is something I was playing with, because he basically does what the Aspect of the Sea does better,
more reliably, and you want some reliability, right?
Because you teleport down, he charges automatically, he does mortal wounds in the blast, he's tanky, he hits hard.
The mortal wounds are super nice in your shooting phase. It's wicked, isn't it?
Yeah, and like I just don't, and honestly, I just don't want to paint the model. And I was like, do I convert it? But then it's just going to look like an Eidolon.
Well, no, not if you take the prime and swap his head and put a cloak on it, a different cloak on it or something.
Yeah, but then you've got to use that chunky Stormcast model, and it looks bad. I don't want the swirls on it.
There'll be some way to do it.
Yeah, I was just literally going to get an Eidolon and put a hammer in his hand. Because basically it's just a guy with Galmaraz and a stick. And then like, I could give him a hammer. Well, he's kind of already got a hammery thing. He's got a scepter, but you've already got a scepter. And then, like, I can't put a Stormcast head on. That would look weird.
Oh, I tell you what, you could be well arty. And what if you made a fish swirl that's reminiscent of his swirl that he's got on his base, but it was fish instead of stupid planet?
The only model I
something in the style of him
about using this, like a 40k Eldar thing that's got like a swishy cloak thing,
Indradi, whatever
it is.
What about if you just modelled like fish on wire and then you just put green stuff blob, because it wouldn't matter what it was between them?
Too much effort. I'll dry brush it.
You could dry brush it.
Yeah, I know, but too much.
Oh, Russ, just stick fish together.
No, I'm just going to take the Aspect of the Storm.
Okay. I mean,
no, I think like the list I was writing was King, Sea, and a some Ishran hero, Soul Scryer. 6 eels, 2 units of 10 Namati, no turtle. The rest is sharks and Life Swarm.
You ever not going to take the Tin Opener King?
I haven't run him at all.
You're not running him at all.
I've not used the king at all. I don't even have a painted one. That's my king. So he's not even. I've not played him in any event.
Yeah.
So literally, I've only played Aspect of the Sea and 2 fit heroes.
Yeah,
I know he is, but he's got 7 wounds with no ward.
If only you had a army of target saturation and too many options and things like that.
But you can't shoot him.
Yeah, exactly.
He's -1 to hit. He's good. I mean, he's good. He's good. But he is what he is. He's fragile. He's a glass cannon.
Neil.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he's amazing. Amazing when he gets going. But it's like, but I don't know if, you know.
Maybe it's a bad temptation. Maybe it's the type of thing you don't need for how you play your list, even if objectively on his own he's good. Maybe
best of both. Fit into it. So like, I can still have the Aspect of the Sea, and I can take him, and then the Aspect of the Sea can put Mystic Shield on him, and I can actually run the Life Swarm, so I can heal him.
But 2 options are best day ever then.
So I could actually heal him 3d3 mortal wounds, 3d3 wounds, 4d3 actually, because I'll do Life Swarm twice, the spell from the Eidolon, and I could do a heroic action, so I could heal him. Like, and the thing is like that healing is great with the Life Swarm. You just swing it around, and it's like I'm going to reliably be able to cast it, and it's going to fly around with me, and then you get to use those things. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I want to play with it. I want to play with a Soul Scroll. I want a Priest. I want to be able to put a 6-up ward on stuff. Like, even if he puts it on him.
Yeah.
Or on the eels. Thinking about taking Curse.
Yeah.
Run up the table, curse something, get in there.
If it's something that is okay in your list for other reasons, I think it's all right. I was very disappointed by mine. If I'd had time, like a 70-point warband would have been a better idea.
Yeah. And it gives me the play as well of Soul Scryer on the side, puts the boat, puts the 10 or both, you could put both units of Reavers off the table if you wanted. 10 Reavers off the table, shoot. Go into the double, jump in the boat, he goes up behind it, shoot. They charge and they unleash hell. You've got the
back someone over
curse. It's just like there's something in the way, and your opponent's got to think about it. They're like, are you going to come on? Are you going to do this? So you put 10 Reavers off. They're generally not in range on turn 1 anyway, and you just basically put 1 unit off the table, and you go, well, what are you going to do? So it's got some options. I think it's good, and then I can go out of more fan because I'm not doing the soul render stuff. I still think the best Idoneth list at the moment is just spam infantry and take double soul renders and more fan and with a turtle, and you just like where you just take loads of readers and 2 for all blobs, and you just shoot people.
I Nurgle with shooting basically.
Shoot everything. And turn 2, they just got not have anything left. Like if you play aggressive with it, and they can't. There's so much stuff that's going to do a lot of damage. You go high tide turn 2, and they're just like,
okay, 1970 immune to battle shock triumph.
Yeah, you basically just got to melt away, wait for the tide to drop, then go in. That's the only play you've got against Deepkin, and that's my army's that dichotomy of choice where do I melt away, play patient, but all the time I've got that 24-inch Ren D3 damage shooting coming into the army, or do I try and play aggressive and then high tide hits and I just lose? So it's like that's why Nurgle are bad, because they can actually weather it, which is a lot of armies can't. And you're like, well, it's
if you're in this type of deployment game, a standard deployment game, it's a scary one for.
And I said that is bad, yeah. And I said to Speckles, like when he played me, he should have just backed off. Like he deployed aggressive, and then I had to basically flip the tides because he could come up, pop up, and charge me. Then he could have just moved backwards, gone, yeah, and then tides dropped. Now I'll go. Yeah. And he actually said to him that against Johnson, he actually played like that against Johnson. That's what won in the game. Yeah, because he listened to what I said and he played that way and he won against Johnson. So I was like super happy about that. That when you play someone, you give him a bit of advice, you talk through the game, and they take it away, and then he comes back to you and he goes, "Oh, that thing you said I did, and it was worked really well." And I was like, "Cool, that's what I want." But yeah, anyway, we can talk for hours, but let's not. We already have.
We'll do. I guess we'll do. You've got an event coming up, so we'll cover fishy post event, whatever happened, and then in that one maybe we'll have a chat about what you're gonna build up to painting for Fish Carnage.
Yeah, and I might try that quirky list for then. I've already written the list. I was going to take it to the team event, and I backed out of it because I was like, actually, let's not. It's a team event. I need to probably take someone I'm familiar with.
You're very familiar with it now.
Yeah, and I feel at Carnage, I pretty much felt very, especially actually at the Hereford event, I was like, my army, I know what it does. I know how to use it. I'm practiced. And like normally I'm not practiced with my list because I'm always changing stuff or taking a new army. So actually being practiced with the army I'm using, and it just really showed that I could play out of stuff like Stormcast, Dragon, Long Strikes, and things like that. So because I played against that, and I played against the City's army, and I played against a Nurgle army, so I had quite a tough run, but I managed to win all my games. Go Fish!
All right then, more fish updates coming in the future.
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the content on what we talked about. If you're at Carnage, then let us know in the comments below, like, how you found it and stuff. If you want to go to Alex's August event, you go to his website, you can get tickets, you can go on Twitter, contact us, join our Discord, all that usual algorithm stuff, like, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. Gotta say it, gotta do it.
Absolutely.
And then
objective markers are arriving pretty soon, by the way. You'll have seen them in the images we've had up on the screen. So yeah, if you want a way to work out where to blob your plague bearers, they're very helpful.
They are very good. So I do say to myself, but yeah, pick up a set of those. That helps support us. That's probably the best way to support us, and you get something cool and useful out of it. So ships worldwide. So yeah, don't be shy. You can pre-order them as well, and then when they come in stock, they'll ship. So you can order them now if you want to. So
yeah, just 2 weeks, I think.
All right, cool. All right, thanks for watching, guys.
Bye.
See you again soon.